Welcome to Coffee with Bee. In today's episode, we are looking forward to take you through Sri Lanka's tourism industry, its revival, new trends, emerging opportunities, challenges the sector is currently facing, and how we would expect the industry to evolve over the coming years. So for this discussion, we have got a special guest with us today, Dr. Kishu Gomes. He currently serves as Group Managing Director and CEO, Dreamron Group of Companies, and Advisory Committee member, Sri Lanka Tourism. Hi, Dr. Gomes.
Hi, Bimasha.
So to begin with, we already know how the tourism industry was impacted following the 2019 East attack, the COVID-19 global pandemic, and the economic crisis. So now with the gradual recovery of the economy in the country, how do you see the progress towards the revival of the sector currently happening?
Well, prospects are bright, I would say. If you look at what happened post-COVID, we've seen a gradual increase. Last year we did 1.4 million tourists, which gave us a revenue of $2 billion. Year to date so far is around 1,077,000, which has realized a net gain of 1.57 billion. Is it satisfactory? Well, I don't think we can say it's a satisfactory achievement, but if we put our house in order, we ensure the right environment for the tourist. I believe that by the end of the year we should be able to reach 2 million, because the season is upcoming.
Correct.
And with a little bit of global recovery from an economic standpoint, we should be able to reach maybe anything between $3.5 billion to $4 billion, whereas the target is 4.5 billion. Target seems a bit unrealistic, at this rate. But answer to your question is, yeah, things are looking good, but could be better.
Right. And also, can you discuss about the current regulatory challenges impacting the tourism industry? Like what specific policies or regulations are posing difficulties for the sector? And also, like, how are they, how are they planning of addressing these challenges, like the industry stakeholders and the policymakers?
The biggest impediment that we have in the country from a regulatory standpoint is the liquor policy. The tourists can't, have liquor after a certain, time of the day, and they don't pour days, liquor is not served, and there are so many national, holidays where liquor is banned. So that is not something, that is right for any country that depends on tourism. I mean, look at all the other countries, that we are competing against. All those countries have very relaxed, liquor policies. So it's not about, getting the right number, but, through the number, achieving the right revenue targets, right? So for you to be able to do that, you've got to, keep them awake. There has to be, a lot of night activities happening. And when they are ready to drink, we should be able to serve. So otherwise, how can we, keep generating incremental revenue? So that, to me, is the biggest regulatory impediment that we have. Other than that, from a regulatory standpoint, I don't, see any major thing. There can be hiccups here, there, but it's not due to very stringent or prohibitive regulatory issues. But there are other issues like in terms of developing the tourism industry, road infrastructure, right? I mean, we have so many beautiful archaeological sites, but getting there is extremely difficult. I mean, look at Anuradhapura, such a beautiful location Sri Lanka can promote. We boast of 8 different such sites. right across the country.
Sure.
But to go from Colombo to Anuradhapura, it takes, good 5 hours with
Yes,
all the
that's
speed
true.
limits. When you can, speed up, the cops will be there to, stop you. So these are things that we got to address. And so that being, one example I took, I mean, look at areas like, say, Allah. Our train, is very popular for Daisy and, all the other fancy trains we have introduced in the recent past. But yet, it takes, good 5 to 6 hours to get there. So tourists, don't want to be, moving. They prefer to be stationed and engaging in activities. Of course, Allah is a scenic route. That's a different thing. But transportation is a major impediment. And then there are other issues like being able to offer the right facilities to the tourists, at various locations. Take, for example, Sigiri. I mean, for the last so many years, they've been complaining about lack of toilet facilities, poor quality toilet facilities. So, I mean, there is, local politics, and then there's national politics. So these have to be ironed out. So I would think, those are the major issues. I mean, rest is, all up to the stakeholders to keep, talking to the governing bodies and then getting them, ironed out. But as compared to what it was several years ago in terms of friendliness, I guess the country today is more tourism friendly.
Right. So, if I were to ask you again, what is your view on the rebound of tourist arrivals so far? And also, like, secondly, what are your observations regarding the main reasons why tourists visit the country? Like, are they primarily here for leisure, business, MICE purposes, or for social reasons like visiting their family and friends?
Right. So again, if I go back to what I said, answering your first, question, we can't be happy with the numbers we being able to achieve, 1 million. I mean, if not for, all these political issues, bad news, floating around the country, we generate, on a daily basis, negative, news. Most recent thing is, shooting, but see, the political environment is not right. So these bad news, that travel, I mean, we know bad news travel, faster than good news.
Correct. Yeah.
So that discourages tourists, considering Sri Lanka. And we had Aragalaya, which created a very bad name for Sri Lanka. With the type of activities that took place, we were kind of perceived as barbarians, right? It was that bad. So we were getting out of it. But I mean, if other things were smooth, we should have been able to, probably done 1.5 million or so by now. Coming back to the second part of your, question, 92% of the tourists come for leisure. Uh, and they just come to entertain themselves. MICE is anything between 1% to 8%, depending on which month it is. The MICE has a cycle, right? MICE certainly has a lot of potential. India is just a few kilometers away, 1.4 billion population, and while certain parts of India are poor, if you look at the segments of the society, you have the super rich as well. Perception towards Indians and Indian tourism may not be as good as the perception towards Europeans. But that is, your emotion, right? But from a business standpoint, it doesn't matter whether it's dark skin or white skin, as long as they're quality tourists who are coming here to spend money. So India has so much potential. So in terms of developing MICE tourism, certainly we have an ocean of opportunities in India. And then there are other countries like Bangladesh, for example. For Bangladeshis, Sri Lanka, for some of them, it's a heaven. For some of the Indians also, it's a heaven. In terms of mindset. and Maldives is there on the other side, but of course, their working population is not as big as a big, bigger country. But I mean, we have tremendous opportunities. Companies actually, tend to get their teams to explore new countries, to give them more confidence, give them a different, feel for motivational purposes, inspirational purposes. So certainly we got to, market the destination better. But having said that, let me tell you, if we are to promote MICE, we need more conference facilities. We need larger halls in Colombo. I mean, look at the biggest ballroom we have in Colombo. I mean, we have one in the newest investment in Kalawatugoda, which can accommodate maybe 1,200 or so. But if you really want to promote MICE tourism, you need to have stadiums, that can accommodate 5,000. Right, that's the scale that you got to have if we are to build a name for MICE tourism. So in the absence of that, it will be small groups, coming in, which might not give you the revenue you desire.
Right. So can you also discuss a little bit about how the tourism industry benefits the local community?
I mean, it's all for them, right? I mean, see, you have tourism doing well. You'll see people in and around that area being able to do well as well. I mean, go to remote areas, villages where there are resorts being operated. The villagers, will get the opportunity to go and sweep the garden and to do the cleaning, landscaping, cooking sometimes, all of that. And when the tourists are out, just roaming around, the people who sell various things, koturoti to poppers to watermelons to bananas to pineapple, they all get, good businesses. Unlike uh, 10, 15 years ago, now tourists, have that tendency to go out and connect with the communities as well. That authenticity is something they look for. It is catching up in other countries as well. And it's the same here also. Tremendous benefit to the communities living in and around. And then creation of job opportunities for the workforce in Sri Lanka. I mean, you increase the number of hotels, that increases the number of employees who will be attached to the hotel. So yeah, it's all for the people finally.
Right, thanks for that. So this will probably be my final question for you, Doctor. So what is your outlook for the tourism industry, let's say, over the next 3 to 5 years? And like what trends, what do you call, opportunities and potential challenges do you foresee? And also, how do you anticipate the tourism industry as a whole will evolve during this coming period?
Right. So I'll tell you what goals Sri Lanka Tourism has. Right. I was the former chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism, heading both Promotions Bureau and SLTDA. Now I am an advisory committee member. So for 2030, we have a revenue target of 25 billion. Right. 5 million tourists, each coming and spending 10 days in Sri Lanka. Each tourist on a daily basis spending 500 USD, right? So it's let me give a summary. 5 million, each one spending 10 days. Each tourist each day spending $500, which gives you a total revenue of 25 billion, right? Sounds very very optimistic. Given that today. We are at 1 million after 6 months, and we may exceed 2 million. And revenue for the 1 million tourists who have already come in is only 1 billion plus. The numbers don't look right. But having said that, global tourism has recovered, and it will continue to grow. There was a time when 1.4 billion people traveled across the world, and majority of them for leisure. And that dropped, during COVID, and it has picked up. But I don't think yet the global tourism numbers it have gone up to the original level. It's catching up. But let's assume that by 2030 we will have totally recovered, where 1.5 billion tourists will be traveling across the world. It could be even more. But being able to get 5 million out of that seems very realistic, right? If you look at the number of tourists. But the challenge would be what and what should we do, can we do uh, to get each tourist to spend $500 per day. The current average is hovering around 170, somewhere there. So you're talking about increasing that by, 3 times. So you need good quality tourism products, um, and you got to, promote it as well, and you got to, do targeted marketing, right? Which type of tourists you would want to attract, and to be able to attract, what and what you got to communicate to them in terms of value proposition. So we talked about the liquor policy.
Yes.
We just continue the way we are. Forget it. I mean, you relax the liquor policy. I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm sure it will give you 25% more revenue.
Yeah, much
right?
more potential.
Tremendous potential. Why are we not doing that? I mean, you go to a Muslim country, if you are a foreigner, you have your passport, you can still have access to liquor, right? And here, we have imposed our own restrictions, and we are just letting that revenue go. So obviously, we need to make that decision. Of course, soft liquor license, entire process was relaxed. So anyone opening a new restaurant or a hotel, is able to basically, get soft liquor license. But soft liquor license only is not enough, right? You got to have hard liquor also, because we know mainly the Europeans, if they are to go on till late night, right? Um, engaging in music, dancing, whatever. They need, what they like to have. So that is one. The other is we need more tourism products. So we are currently talking about developing Arugambe, Kalpitia, Jaffna certain parts, and then Hikkadua. So these areas, have to be developed. And with that development, you can elevate the prices. And when the prices, get elevated, then obviously the lower end of the tourists, will get cut off, and with that we will be able to earn the right revenue from each tourist, who will be coming into the country. But to attract, those right quality tourists, from that segment, you got to do, more aggressive, very focused marketing and brand building. So as we speak, the government is currently looking at building a nation brand, right? And I'm a part of it. So we just, uh, put the whole structure together. I don't know how long it will take, with this political, environment situation in the country. So countries now believe in not just tourism brand, but nation branding. The nation has to be perceived to be the right one for you. So you've got to position that, and under that, you bring in, all the other sub brands you have, tourism to tea, gems, anything else, that the country needs to depend on. So it's on the cards. There's work being done, but we need to invest money to build that brand.
So thank you very much, Dr. Gomes, for taking your time to join us today. This is a very meaningful conversation. And so having said that, we have something You want to say something?
No, I mean, thank you for the opportunity. It was brief, but I guess we went into the right
It was
areas.
extremely insightful.
No,
Yes.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your feedback.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. Let's hope that Sri Lanka will be able to earn the right revenue. From the
Exactly.
tourism industry, for all Sri Lankans to have a broader smile on their
Yes.
face. I mean, that's our end game.
Yes.
But to be able to do that, every single Sri Lankan needs to believe in tourism. It's not about government believing in tourism. It's not about tourism board believing in tourism to be the way forward. It's all Sri Lankans coming together, believing in tourism and doing what is right for tourism. And unless and until that is done, we will not be able to achieve what we want to achieve.
Yeah. So all fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So having said that, Dr. We have something small from Senfin Asset Management.
Okay. All right.
So we really hope you like it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Much. Yeah. Thank you. So with that, we have come to the end of today's conversation. I will be back with another insightful personality in my next segment. Until then, take care.